everyone. Welcome back to the Blue Comet Get Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, John, and I'm here to help you get marketing in the digital space. Remember to subscribe to the channel, rate and share our videos, and obviously leave comments along the way, and share this with your colleagues online also. I am excited to be with a good friend of mine this morning, David Veksler, who is with Vellum Capital and the Bitcoin Consultancy. David, thanks so much for joining us today.
John, it's thrilled to be here.
So David, we were chatting about something very, very interesting in the pre-show, and I thought this would be a fantastic stat for you to share with our audience that maybe they don't know about Bitcoin yet. I'm sure everybody's kind of heard different things, but can you share something very interesting with our audience today about Bitcoin?
Yes. As of 2 days ago, 90% of all Bitcoin that will ever exist has been mined. Only 10% is remaining, and there will ever only be 21 million Bitcoin.
So what does that mean for people trying to understand the impact that Bitcoin has as a potential currency, or a lot of people seeing this as kind of like a hedge or even maybe just a fad right now? What do some of these stats about Bitcoin actually mean for its viability in the future?
So if you think about gold, if you take all the gold, all the above ground gold in the world, it will not quite fill 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And gold is valuable because it is shiny and durable, but most importantly, it is scarce. And that's what gives gold its value, the fact that it's hard to find. And even if it becomes very valuable, it's hard to get more of it. So Bitcoin works the same way. Bitcoin is scarce. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. The entire Bitcoin community is committed to this fact. It's baked into the Bitcoin source code. It would be very hard to change that. And that scarcity is what gives Bitcoin value, as opposed to fiat currency, as opposed to government money, which is unlimited in quantity. And one other important fact is 40% of all money, of all dollars that have ever existed, were created within the past year. 40%.
Wow.
There was a massive expansion in the supply of dollars to deal with the pandemic, with the recession caused by the pandemic. And the quantity of dollars is unlimited because the government can just create more anytime.
So I guess our listeners are wondering, obviously, for the Get Marketing podcast, how does Bitcoin and cryptocurrency factor into businesses, business owners? How is this going to affect the future of, currency exchange, buying products, etc.? That's why I thought it would be such a fascinating conversation for us to have today. Maybe you can share a little bit more about how a business owner can either get involved or may need to think through how cryptocurrency might be a viable part of their business or the economy moving forward.
There are 2 things you should think about as a business owner when it comes to Bitcoin. First is accepting Bitcoin payments. Now, if you are in the United States, not many businesses accept Bitcoin today. Of course, we heard about Tesla doing it, a few other businesses, but it's rare. I think that is changing rapidly. Now you can get a Bitcoin debit card from many different places. We're rapidly seeing companies accepting payments directly in Bitcoin. And as a business, if you choose to do that, it gives you some publicity, but also gives you access to this large and rapidly growing group of people that want to do something with their Bitcoin. In my previous company, Royalty Exchange, we released a NFT based on Ethereum, and it was very successful because there's now a lot of very successful, wealthy people holding Bitcoin. So it's a great opportunity. Second big thing is, if you are looking at the dollar inflation, officially it's just under 7%, but unofficially I think it's much higher because that number does not count fuel and real estate. And because of the debt obligations of the US government, I see inflation not going away. It's not transitory. It's going to stay with us for a long time. So just to safeguard your savings, safeguard your balance sheets, you should be thinking about getting some Bitcoin in your portfolio.
You make some great points there, and I like what you're saying about business owners needing to think through kind of the future of the economy as well, not only hedging their personal assets or business assets, like you said, with making sure you might have, let's say, a sustainable asset that's a hedge on your balance sheet. But I want you to maybe drill down a little bit more into the importance of understanding why we may need to think about cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin or other, tokens and coins at the point of sale. How viable, I guess what I would say is, how realistic do you think that that's going to be for business owners to think that through, especially, let's say, a local brick and mortar? Do you see Bitcoin being an acceptable currency that people will use, like, obviously, this type of currency exchange in the future?
So Bitcoin has two main uses. One, I would say the main one is as a store of value, as a sort of digital gold. And of course, that has nothing to do with point of sale. You can keep gold, just like Bitcoin, and redeem it when you need to. But the second one is, as you said, the point of sale. And right now, Bitcoin is most useful in countries that don't have access to sound money. Countries like Turkey or Venezuela or Zimbabwe that have hyperinflation, that have a totally
Sure.
worthless local currency. That's where Bitcoin will first be adopted for point of sale. So there's no rush for brick and mortar businesses, but there's an opportunity by being the first, just as
Mm.
in the 90s, if you were the first to be on the internet, there was an opportunity to attract that demographic. And as I said, there's many crypto wealthy people that are eager to support businesses that accept Bitcoin. So if you're the first, there's a big opportunity for you.
I really like that, and especially something that we do chat about on the show, and obviously we've talked with many business owners. There's always that. I think there's a phrase. It's first, best, or most consistent is usually how you achieve success over time.
Hmm.
So if you do have the opportunity as a business owner to be first to the table in offering an opportunity for your customers, like you're saying, to engage with you or to even engage with other users, let's say in your ecosystem, with a cryptocurrency or with Bitcoin, etc., that would present a high opportunity value for you. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how a business owner or an individual could begin to engage in maybe using some of the technologies around Bitcoin. Obviously, I think people think, oh, it's definitely traded on exchanges, and it seems to be almost like a stock market asset in most people's mind. At least that's what I hear a lot. But how could somebody create real utility or actually use a cryptocurrency in their day to day, let's say, life spending habits or at a business? Are there it's like I know I've heard like wallets and things like that. What is your recommendation, or how does somebody begin to get active in being able to, I guess, use a cryptocurrency as a point of sale use item?
So there's three parts to using Bitcoin, accepting Bitcoin payments. Step one, buy some Bitcoin so you're familiar with it. So get an account on a crypto exchange, Coinbase or Gemini. Step two is get a Bitcoin wallet. So if you own it, find or purchase a wallet to store it. If you can see this is a Trezor Bitcoin wallet. There's a number of brands out there. So just understand how it works. Take custody of the Bitcoin. So for your personal use, definitely recommend holding the Bitcoin yourself, having the keys on your wallet. Now, if you want to accept payments in Bitcoin, there's a few great providers. There's Coinbase Commerce. So there's the
Hmm.
Coinbase exchange, but it has a
Okay.
product called Coinbase Commerce. Easy integration with your online storefront or point of sale, take payments. Also, BitPay, another competing vendor offering point of sale Bitcoin payments or online payments. The integrations are fairly simple. If you need help, you can always come to me. But they will allow you to accept Bitcoin payments. And then Coinbase Commerce and BitPay both will allow you to, if you want to, immediately convert the Bitcoin to dollars.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and I think, like you're saying, even if you are new to hearing about cryptocurrency, or maybe you've heard about Bitcoin over the last several years, I think from our conversation today, David, I'm hearing that at least it makes sense to do the research, understand this new potential, currency that many individuals will and are using currently in our economy. And then I think what you said, and there's a couple more points I think that we could talk through is about the hedge against inflation. I think you've mentioned that a couple of times. Can you expand a little bit more on that and why you think that Bitcoin is going to be a hedge against that, or may even help you stabilize as a business if you're invested in that, or you allow, again, like you said, users to actually use this type of currency to engage with your products and services?
So, first point is, why is inflation actually a problem? Um, Historically, the dollar has lost over 96% of its value since we went off the gold standard and the Federal Reserve Bank was in charge of managing the value of the dollar. 96%. That trend
Wow.
has been stable for about a decade, but recently it's accelerating because of the response to the pandemic and the massive dollar creation that's now happening. Like I said, the official rate is about 7%. The real rate is much higher. And but critically, because of the debt obligations of the US government, including the welfare system and Social Security and Build Back Better, and all these programs, they all cost a lot of money. And this is all being paid for through debt, not raising taxes. And the government has to pay interest on that debt. And because of inflation, the only response the government has to curb inflation is to raise interest rates. But if it raises the interest rates, now it has to pay a lot more interest on the debt. So the Federal Reserve just yesterday promised to have 3 interest rate hikes next year, but what it can actually do is extremely limited. Right now, rates are nearly zero. To raise them, the government would owe literally trillions more dollars on the debt. So the point is that the ability of the Federal Reserve to respond to inflation is extremely limited right now because of the enormous debt obligation that would incur. So realistically,
Sure.
inflation is not going away. And we've known for decades that Social Security is unsustainable. At some point in the 2030s, it becomes um, we lose our ability to pay benefits, and that the only way to respond to that is either to cut benefits or, more realistically, more inflation. So that is the reason why you need to have a hedge. And basically, you have 3 options. One is real estate. So right now, mortgage rates are very low. That's one bucket you should be thinking about to deal with inflation. Another option you have is gold, which is, of course, the traditional way to hedge against
Sure.
inflation. But gold has not performed so well if you look at the last 10 years. And that's because, one, the government has confiscated gold during periods of high inflation. In the 1933, FTR confiscated all private gold and forced people to switch to dollars. Um, it has some disadvantages. It's not native internet money. It's limited convertibility to dollars and so on. I think Bitcoin is the native money of the internet. Bitcoin has a hard supply, unlike gold. The Bitcoin supply schedule, as I mentioned, is fixed. 90%
Right.
that will ever exist has already been created. There will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. The last of it will be mined by the year 2140. So I think Bitcoin is an important tool that you have to protect your assets and your business against inflation. So think about different buckets you can protect yourself. Of course, stocks are a good one as well, but they don't perform nearly as well as Bitcoin.
Well, David, I really appreciate you sharing these facts with the audience today, and I've certainly learned a lot from our conversation. I wonder if you could just share a little bit with the audience about what you do specifically with the Bitcoin Consultancy, and you could share about Vellum Capital as well. But I'd love for the audience to understand more about if they wanted to get in touch with you or learn more from what you're talking about today. What is the value that you're bringing with the Bitcoin Consultancy, and how do you help people understand more about this whole cryptocurrency space?
Yes. So if you think about the internet, it was um, non-existent before the web. I'm sorry, the web was really non-existent before 95. In 1995, the web browser was invented, and that's when it exploded. So with cryptocurrencies, we are before that. We're in 1993 or something like that. We didn't even have the killer app for Bitcoin. We're early, but I believe, and so a lot of people, that this is going to be um, the value layer of the internet, and
Mm,
it's going to be a whole new economy, a whole new asset class. And so, based on that belief, I co-founded a hedge fund in 2018 dedicated to investing in the top cryptocurrencies. That's Vellum Capital. But what I also did is I saw that because we are so early, the tools that we have to store Bitcoin and use it for commerce are very mature. That ecosystem is developing, but there's a lot of ways you can make mistakes. And so, two
sure.
things I do with the Bitcoin consultancy is one, when people get into trouble with Bitcoin, I help them out. So, just yesterday, I had a client whose dog ate his Bitcoin wallet. It's a little electronic device, just like this, and his dog chewed on it, and he had no backup. And so, I'm going to be doing a motherboard swap for him to fix his Bitcoin wallet. Another one,
Can I just say that literally makes me think about the dog ate my homework, and
I
it's the
know
most realistic thing I've ever heard someone say when we're dealing with Bitcoin. But continue, that's fantastic.
there's very clear bite marks on that wallet, so there's no question. Um, but more commonly, people, customers that forget their password, or
Mm,
maybe they wrote down their seed words but got one of the words wrong. That is what I mostly help with. So again, this is very early. You can make mistakes. If you make a mistake, I'm here to help. If
sure.
you, I cannot help with scams, but most other situations, I can usually get your Bitcoin or cryptocurrency back. That's one thing. Second thing is individuals that want to invest in Bitcoin. Of course, you can do it yourself. Sign up at Gemini, transfer the Bitcoin to your own hardware wallet. But if you need somebody to hold your hand or to give you some training on how to do fundamental analysis of cryptocurrencies, how to think about the market, how to allocate your crypto portfolio, can definitely give you some ideas on that. So that's been my focus recently. And then, of course, now accepting Bitcoin payments. How, if you want to integrate BitPay or Coinbase Commerce or some of these other vendors to do online or point of sale crypto payments, I can definitely help you with that.
That's fantastic, David. I really appreciate you spending some time with us today. I wonder if before we kind of wrap up the show, if you could give the audience maybe three key takeaways or kind of three key points that you feel are important to either learn, understand, or kind of take away from our conversation about Bitcoin, Bitcoin payments, etc. For our audience today.
First point is not strictly about Bitcoin, it's about the economy. If you're not paying attention to inflation, you should be. It's not going away. It's much worse than the official numbers. If you need to have a plan, you should not be in cash. You should be thinking about your strategy to deal with the dollar losing value. It might not be hyperinflation, but it is coming, and you should be thinking about securities, debt, gold, Bitcoin. Have a plan in place. Second point is Bitcoin is not going away. It's going to be the value layer of the internet. It doesn't have to replace a dollar to be successful, but it's going to be huge. It's going to be a major new asset class. It's going to be, we don't know if I'll use this at point of sale, but it will definitely be used as digital gold, and especially in non-US countries. So learn about it. Even if you don't accept payments today, at least buy a few dollars, get a Bitcoin wallet, understand how it works so you're ready. Third point I will say is I've said the word Bitcoin, crypto, and I think that's because Bitcoin will capture most of the value in the space. There are 20,000 cryptocurrencies. It's easy to get distracted or be looking at short term gains. If you're interested in investing in the space, think long term. Bitcoin has a 12-year track record. Most of these other assets, well, none of them have the track record, and most of their gains are very short term.
Sure.
So focus on the top crypto assets. Bitcoin, maybe a little Ethereum. Don't get distracted with every week there's a new crypto coming out. Think about your long term portfolio.
David, thank you so much for sharing with the audience today. I really appreciate you coming on board.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And thank you so much, the audience, for tuning in with us as well. Again, we always appreciate it. I hope you all did learn something today. I certainly did. I love having these conversations. And I think as business owners, it's important for us to always be thinking about the future, the economy, where our customers will be engaging with us, especially online, especially since that's what we do, right? Here at Blue Comet Media. Remember to subscribe and share these episodes. If you love the conversation and want to keep us caffeinated and maybe get David and I a coffee, you can go and use the Ko-Fi link and drop us a tip down there. Check the link below. If you have any questions, check out the comments section. You can get in touch with David at the Bitcoin Consultancy. His information will be in the comments section as well. You can also see all the information to get in touch with me here at Blue Comet Media. And I look forward to seeing you all get marketing in the digital space.